Throughout the history of Westeros and Essos, there's one lesson written in ash and bone. You don't fight a dragon and walk away. Not with your life, not with your skin, sometimes not even with your legend intact. George R.R. Martin didn't pull punches when he wrote about dragonslayers. Every single person who went after one of these beasts paid a price. And today, we're counting the toll. From Meereen's fighting pits to the Dragonpit of King's Landing, these are the warriors, the heroes, and the fools who looked a dragon in the eye and said, "I can take you." Spoiler alert. They were wrong. Let's see who made the attempt and what it cost them. Harghaz the hero, 300 AC, Daznak's pit. We start in Meereen, at the great fighting pit of Daznak. Daenerys Targaryen is watching the games when Drogon crashes the party, drawn by blood and chaos. The Black Dragon tears through fighters and nobles alike. And in the middle of this apocalypse, one man decides to be a legend. His name is Harghaz. The A-Wiki of Ice and Fire page is clear. Harghaz charges straight at Drogon, not away from the dragon, at it. Incredibly, he actually manages to wound the beast. For a single, shining moment, Harghaz is the bravest man in Meereen. And then, Drogon sets him on fire as he escapes the pit. There's no follow-up. No Harghaz survived with minor burns. The historical record just says he burned. One moment of glory, one lick of dragon flame, and Harghaz becomes a name on a list. Lesson learned. Even if you land the hit, the dragon always gets the last word. Quentyn Martell, 299 AC, the Dragonpit disaster. If Harghaz's story is tragic, Quentyn Martell's is heartbreaking. This is a prince who came to Meereen with a marriage pact, a dream of taming dragons, and exactly zero understanding of what that actually takes. Quentyn's plan? Sneak into the Dragonpit with his friends, approach Viserion, the cream and gold dragon, and claim him as a rider. He's got Targaryen blood in his veins. Distant, yes, but it's there. He thinks that's enough. It isn't. A Dance with Dragons gives us the scene in brutal detail. Quentyn raises the whip, Viserion hisses, and just as the prince takes his shot, Rhaegal, the green and bronze dragon, hits him from behind with a blast of flame. The book doesn't sugarcoat it. Fire and blood were the words of House Targaryen, but Quentyn Martell had learned that the hard way. He dies 3 days later, covered in burns so severe his friends can barely recognize him. The tattered prince, the wind blown, the whole clever plan, none of it mattered. Quentyn tried to seize a dragon, and the dragon seized him right back. Lesson learned. Targaryen blood might open the door, but it won't save you if the dragon says no. Now, we jump back 170 years to the Dance of the Dragons, the Targaryen civil war that turned the sky into a graveyard and the ground into a pyre. This is where dragon-slaying attempts go from rare and tragic to an entire genre of death. Sir Byron Swann, 130 AC, King's Landing. Sir Byron Swann is a legend before he even tries. He's a knight with a reputation, a Valyrian steel sword, and a plan so clever, sounds like it came straight out of a maester's dusty scroll. Sneak up on a dragon with a mirrored shield so the beast only sees its own reflection. The accounts disagree on which dragon he went after. Some say Syrax, others say Vhagar, but they all agree on the ending. Byron Swann burns to death trying his trick. Fire and Blood is blunt about it. The shield didn't work. The dragon saw him, and Byron, for all his skill and steel, became ash. There's no glorious last stand. No, he almost had it. Just fire and silence. Lesson learned. Cleverness doesn't fireproof your armor. The Burning Night. 130 AC, Storming of the Dragonpit. The Storming of the Dragonpit is the single bloodiest anti-dragon event in Westerosi history. A mob of thousands storms the great dome where the Targaryens keep their dragons, determined to kill the beasts and end the civil war. Most of them die screaming, but one man, whose name is lost to history, earns a nickname that lasts forever, the Burning Night. According to Fire and Blood, this knight charges Morgul, one of Helena's dragons, in full plate armor. He doesn't dodge the flames. He doesn't retreat. He runs straight into the dragonfire, spear raised, and stabs at Morgul's eye over and over until the dragon recoils. And then the flames melt his armor and cook him alive inside it. The text is horrifyingly specific. The steel turned red, then white, then ran like wax. The Burning Knight dies in agony, fused to his own gear, remembered only for the way he refused to stop stabbing. Hobb the Hewer, 130 AC, the man who killed Shrykos. Hobb the Hewer is a butcher, not a knight, not a lord, just a man with an axe and a death wish. During the storming, he somehow gets close enough to Shrykos, another of Helena's hatchlings, to jump onto the dragon's neck. What happens next is legend. Hobb axes through Shrykos' skull over and over, splitting bone and brain until the dragon dies beneath him. It's one of the only confirmed dragon kills by a single man in the entire series. But here's the kicker. Fire and Blood doesn't tell us if Hobb survives. The Dragonpit collapses, the mob scatters, and Hobb the Hewer's fate is listed as unknown. So yes, he killed a dragon, but the cost? Possibly his life, possibly his sanity, possibly everything. Lesson learned. Even if you win, the dragon takes something with it. But what about dragon riders who go after other dragons? Surely if you've got your own winged nuke, the odds even out, right? Wrong. Daemon and Aemond Targaryen, 130 AC, battle above the God's Eye. The Battle Above the God's Eye is the single most iconic dragon duel in history. Prince Daemon Targaryen on Caraxes, the Bloodworm, versus Prince Aemond Targaryen on Vhagar, the largest living dragon. Daemon baits Aemond into a chase. Aemond takes it, and when Vhagar dives on Caraxes, Daemon makes his move. He leaps from his saddle, lands on Vhagar's neck, and drives Darksister, his Valyrian steel sword, through Aemond's blind eye. Both dragons fall into the lake. Both riders die. Fire and Blood tells us Aemond's body is eventually recovered, still chained to Vhagar's saddle with the sword through his skull. Daemon's body is never found. Historians believe he died on impact. The cost? Everything. Both dragons, both riders, both legacies, written in blood at the bottom of a lake. Lesson learned. Even when you're riding a dragon, going after another dragon is a suicide pact. So let's tally the bodies. Harghaz, burned alive. Quentyn Martell, burned, lingered 3 days, died in agony. Byron Swann, burned, trying to be clever. The Burning Knight, melted inside his own armor. Hobb the Hewer, fate unknown, probably dead. Daemon and Aemond, mutual annihilation. Every single one of them thought they had a shot, a plan, a destiny. Every single one of them thought they had a shot, a plan, a destiny. And every single one of them learned the same lesson George R.R. Martin has been teaching since A Game of Thrones. Dragons don't lose. You can wound them. You can scare them. You can even, in rare cases, kill one. But you don't walk away clean. The fire always finds you. So here's the real question. Would you try it? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the deadliest moments in Targaryen history, hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. Fire and Blood, everyone. Fire and Blood.